Welcome back to week 2 of our Wicked Ones playthrough. We haven't named our dungeon yet. I think that's what we should potentially start with, or we can come back to it because
Pen Island.
we could do Pen Island. It is an island. It is
pen-shaped.
suspiciously phallic. Like we always end up gravitating towards that in these games.
That's
just
why
how it
that
goes.
was chosen.
Yeah, exactly. But that is the location you all are at right now. We could come back to it after we do the drawing the dungeon phase and see if that inspires anyone with some names.
You know what it's going to be shaped like.
Yeah, that's fair.
Despite the fact that a lighthouse is round, top
well,
down.
you're going to be digging under the lighthouse, I think, using the lighthouse as a smokestack.
Yes.
I think that's kind of what we had determined. And I actually think, upon closer inspection of it, it might not even be a lighthouse in the first place, but it does kind of look like one. I think it's supposed to be like a sorcerer tower or something, like a wizard's tower. But it looks like a lighthouse.
Yeah.
I don't know how useful that would be as a lighthouse location. But
Yeah, it keeps people from running into the mountain.
yeah, exactly.
It keeps really drunk fishermen from dying as frequently.
It's just to keep you from running into the lighthouse.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, whatever it was before, it's a smokestack now.
Yeah.
So that's great. So where we left off was you all invaded that island at the deepest, most pitch black part of night, and you found some big burly men there, a bunch of like lumberjack type people that are having some sort of gathering there. They all had suspiciously the same big burly body type,
Yes.
and they were out drinking on this abandoned island for some reason. This is apparently the spot that they just have been gathering.
This is where they go to have their gay orgies away from the wives.
Exactly. Yeah, on Penn
Keep it
Island.
on the down
because-
low.
Yeah, that's
that would
just where
make
you
sense.
go. So that's where you went.
Yes, explain the name.
You weren't able to communicate with them very well, but you managed to find
I don't know what
their
you mean.
booze. They
Yep.
stole a lot of booze, which actually will become some good loot for you later.
Replace some
cheese
booze with
ball.
bees. Don't throw the cheese ball.
Rip the cheese balls.
Jeez, you're so
Cheese.
violent.
Thank you.
Got the cat's attention.
Yeah.
That was so the cat could play with it, but also that was a great noise that made.
It was a good noise. Yeah, I can't deny.
You got people that live downstairs from you?
Yeah, my landlord.
Oh, cool.
I have doubts an empty can of cheese balls was really loud for that.
That was loud.
Our voices are probably louder, but it's fine.
There was booze.
There was booze.
And we took it.
You took it, and you murdered 2 of them, I think, and captured the other 2,
Yes.
if I recall correctly.
I
One
got
of them
one
was
in there.
buried across the other
Yeah,
side.
he-
Yeah,
Yes.
one of them's buried. So I think there were 5 in total. I guess you murdered 3 of them and kept 2 alive.
Gotcha.
So I think somebody was trying to capture one and they didn't.
I was chasing one with a bear trap.
Right.
I believe he survived.
Right. I think he
He-
ran into a tree.
Yes.
Yes. And just knocked himself out. And then somebody, I think Kobe caught one with a net. Is
Yes.
that right? So you have those 2 and the one buried. So you murdered 2. You have 3 prisoners potentially here.
Yeah. And one of the ants got to the guy across the way.
Exactly. And so you took the booze, you took whatever other supplies you had, you left your victims tied up, and then you all rested for the evening, figuring
Yeah.
tomorrow morning you'll start fresh, you'll start making this into your dungeon, but there was no time now to get started on much.
Oh yeah, my mule's still, or my donkey's still over there.
Yeah,
Yes.
so you retrieve your donkey when you go and get the other prisoner who was buried
Yeah.
up to his shoulders in sand.
Go play with the cheese balls, kid.
Exactly. And you have a plan for what you want your dungeon to look like. You want it to be a big metal mouth with statues beside it. You want it to be full of metal and magical obsidian everywhere for the floors and the walls and whatever else. You want there to be channels of flowing magma throughout the forge that will cause it to be heated and well lit. And upon walking into it, you all will hope that it will smell like sulfur, sweat, something burning, and you'll hear the sounds of hammers on metal and various mechanical noises.
Yeah.
Your hoard, you estimate, will be mostly ingots and molten metal that you can use to further construct whatever weapons of war or gadgets or any kind of trinkets you might want to work with here.
Yeah.
Things you might be able to sell or trade to others, anything valuable like that. You'll turn it all down into ingots and molten metal Even if it's, I don't know,
Even if it's jewels.
even if it's booze. You're going to make booze ingots because that's how this works.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we
We can
figured
use
out.
the booze to cool our ingots.
Exactly. But for now, all you found is a cave that leads down underneath the lighthouse into the earth there. And it doesn't go very far, maybe 20 feet or so deep. It's not a very deep spot, but it is out of the rain. It is warm. And so you all stay there for the evening. And upon waking up, you all feel some presences watching you. Potentially some familiar presences. As anytime a group of wicked ones gathers to make a dungeon, imps are always attracted. And so now we get to decide what your imps look like, what your little minions that will be running around the dungeon look like. Imps will be your background workers, your people that aren't necessarily minions that come on jobs with you, but they're just the little underlings that are so far down the hierarchy you barely even notice they're in the room with you. And if you ever have like an explosion in the lab or something like that, it's probably going to be dozens of imps that die, and you just won't care because they're imps. It's whatever. So they're very tiny monsters, and in return for your protection, they work for you. So we get to choose 2 imp traits, which we can pick from the list or come up with our own, which describe how they behave, and then we get to describe their physical appearance of what your imps look like in this little dungeon. So the suggested traits are clever, cowardly, cruel, manic, noisy, stupid, surly, or troublesome. Just to give you some ideas of how minions your imps will probably behave. So, thoughts?
Clever and cowardly.
Yeah,
Clever
I
and
do
cowardly
like
would
that
be kinda
combination.
That is a combination.
It is a combination.
Especially for the Forge. I imagine they're all wearing too large for them leather aprons and goggles that they're never smart enough to put over their eyes.
They just gnomes. Is that why we haven't seen a gnome civilization on the map?
It is good for them to have a healthy fear of molten everything.
Yes, that seems like good. You become an ingot if you're not careful.
That does seem like good.
That could be something that we could trade in, though. In bigots.
Impkits.
Ingots.
Not worth much.
But they're there.
But there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
It's
There's a
mostly
market somewhere.
What are your thoughts, George?
That all sounds good.
Let's keep them in line. They don't want to turn into ingots.
It's just a little meat like brick with a tail.
Oh, there's a bump.
Spam.
A little meat brick. There's a block of spam with googly eyes and a tail.
Incredible.
The cat has a lump.
I think that's a spine.
Nope.
Oh
It's on
yeah.
the skin.
It's
So
a,
most of your kobolds, do they want to be kobold-esque, or should they be something lesser than kobolds? Like, what would the, should they just be really shitty kobolds, and you're all just really good, powerful kobolds?
I just kind of picture them looking like bipedal
they're like
rats.
Like,
they're-
bipedal what?
Bipedal rats.
They could also
That's
be
what
like
came to
ooh,
mind.
rat people.
rat people.
Yeah, I like that.
Clever
And not
and
just
cowardly
because
rat
they're
people.
one of my favorite factions in Warhammer.
That's a faction.
Yeah,
Rat people.
yeah.
Are they tiny or people size?
They're somewhere in between. They also brought about the end of the world. Hopefully these ones won't do that.
Yeah, I have a game that does that.
Yeah,
You just go around hitting them
yeah.
the whole time.
So, I like the idea of rat people. Mm-hmm. Anyone else have other ideas they want to bring up?
I am resisting the urge to say exiled mountain crabs. But I'm
Probably,
thinking it.
probably shouldn't be something that's already another faction. They might have their own imps as well,
Right.
the mountain crabs, but
Well, we can kidnap mountain crabs later.
That is true.
that's true.
Rat people or gnomes are my two suggestions.
I like those.
Rat people gnomes.
Rat gnomes.
Yes,
maybe
small.
maybe in this world they're called gnomes, but they are rat people.
They do have the little hats
Yeah, rat people know just rats with pointy hats.
and beards
Oh.
and colorful coats and pipes
Keep going.
and rakes. But they are rat people.
Uh-huh.
They're basically hobbits. Is what I'm getting at.
So I'll add the smell of weed to our atmosphere for the room.
Yes.
Good.
So So at that point, are they taller than the kobolds or shorter than
I
the
think they're shorter than the kobolds without the hats. I think they wear the hats so they can pretend to be taller than the kobolds.
So I think
But they're still not.
so. Rat
Yeah.
people with really tall hats. We vibe with that.
It seems like it would
Yeah.
get in the way of their work, but yes.
They need.
Well, they gotta put them on the coat hooks or the hat
That's
hooks.
how they get into the ingots.
Hmm,
The hats get caught in the machinery.
that makes sense. Rats in hats.
All right, so I'll write that down.
Ingots.
Clever, cowardly,
Rats and hats.
rats in hats. Yes. Excellent. All right, so now we have our imps. The next part is to decide on the master plan for your dungeon, which we actually can slightly skip for now, because the first step of any master plan is to grow the horde, so that you can actually amass some level of power in order to
Yeah.
be able to get anything done. Right now, you're tier 0. You can't even match up evenly with anyone on the map right now. So your current first goal is probably attain tier 1. But we can set a higher goal if we want. The game is designed around you having a 5-step master plan, but we don't need to go
Yeah.
that far. We can just set step 1 or something like that for now. But or we can leave that until maybe you've already built up some wealth, gotten to tier 1. But if anything jumps out at anyone as like, here's our first step out into the world after we get some wealth going, what do we want to change? We could write that down now.
Orphan army.
The Orphan Army is the-
They already are doing it.
There is an existing orphan army.
We could have amass the horde and then amass the horde, like HRR.
Yes, I like that. What if we...
I want to build an army of lava punk dragon robots.
Are they ingot powered?
They're made of ingots.
I do like that.
They're probably lava powered, which
Yeah.
is not smart, which is good.
It's okay, we got
Yeah.
a basement.
But an army to do what with?
Well, we'll figure that out later. You need an army if you're gonna do anything evil. You just, it doesn't matter what, you need an army to do it, so we might as well get started making our army.
So an army
I don't know,
might
that's
make a
step
good
4, robot Dre.
an army might be a good step 3 or 4 plan,
Yeah.
and then using the army could be step 5, for example. Like if we have a goal in
Yeah.
mind, like conquer the region with the army, step 5 or something. But so we can extrapolate from that though. Like we
Yeah.
could take build an army, step 3, build robot dragons, step 4. Right. So then maybe step 2 is like get a mass production line going or something
Yeah.
like that that lets you build
Get before it's
army.
functional.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that could work. But let's keep those ideas in mind for now.
Yeah.
I think let's revisit that later once you've accumulated a little more wealth. And finally, with your imps now being attracted to your dungeon, you have a workforce you can employ to build your dungeon. So we're going to go through that process now because it's fun and
Yeah.
collaborative. So I already pre-rolled a couple things behind the scenes, and I'll get to that when we get to it. But for you all, do we have the dungeon sheet somewhere?
Is right here.
Excellent. So we're going to want to draw the dungeon on this mat, I think. And how we would typically do that is we'll go around a clockwise fashion. We can decide who goes first in whatever order, but we need to build a certain grouping of rooms in this dungeon first. You start with a certain number of rooms of various different types, and I can read those off to you again, but the sheet has at least some of them there for the structural rooms that a forge can build. We can't do any tier 3 rooms, which are the ones on
Okay.
the side here.
Gotcha.
Those are a little fancier. Actually, as part of this process, we'll pick the first one that you're going for, but you'll need to complete a mission to get the resources to actually
Yeah.
finish constructing it. But the tier 1 and tier 2 buildings, you'll get one of each as far as rooms go. You will also get to build a tier 1 creature lair, not listed on the sheet, a tier 1 lock, tier 1 trap, a tier 1 trick, which is It could be something like an alarm or a trick that tricks adventurers into, like an example given in the book was a pool of water they have to swim across that tricks adventurers into leaving their heavy armor behind, or an alarm that alerts your minions of the presence of adventurers, or a big flashy sign that says "Go this way for treasure." Right, it's something that makes the adventurers go down one path
Yep.
instead of another, or something leads them into a trap. Right. So the tricks don't do damage themselves, but they can influence either the adventurers or they can give your minions an advantage or something like that. Traps obviously do damage to the adventurers. Creatures are in a sort of symbiotic relationship with your dungeon. They're not under your direct control, but they move into your dungeon because you provide space for them. Perhaps you even provide them some of your ingots or something. And in return, they help protect your dungeon if it's ever under attack. So those are essentially just really advanced traps, because adventurers will move in and try to fight them whenever they see them, and so on. It creates some encounters for the adventurers to come across whenever they enter the dungeon. And then the other rooms have their own benefits listed on the sheet. Some of them are just structural, like a hallway. Some of them are like a minion dorm, things like that, a minion room that have, or a torture room, or things like that, a guard post. Different, more functional rooms that actually have things listed there, but it's probably good to start off with at least some structure for now, but we can always go back and add more stuff later. Obviously things like, adding a window, one of the tier 1 features that connects two rooms together, might be a little tricky right now when we don't have many rooms, but that's what it is. So who wants to start with just start drawing a room of the dungeon? We also have to draw the dungeon's sanctum, which is on a lower floor than everything else in the dungeon. And that's where all of you usually reside. It's where all of your layers are together. And it should be themed after the forge. So it can be, I think, up there, the darker gray section.
Power source.
The power source. That lists sort of what the sanctum should be like, basically. It could be a giant furnace or the heart of a volcano. We're probably not on a volcano right now, but something.
It doesn't look like it.
It doesn't look like it.
You never know. It could be under there somewhere.
It could be. Deep under the lake.
Well, step 1 is to just sort of get a bunch of cardboard and basically, like a second grader's school play, make it look like we're in a volcano.
Yeah, exactly.
And then over time, replace that with
Actual lava.
forced volcano-like structure.
Perfect.
So we're building like
pretty
a
sick.
giant paper mache Jaws at the doorway for
Yes.
now? Okay.
For now, we're buying a suspicious amount of baking soda and vinegar. They'll never
Suspicious
understand
amount.
our machinations.
It all comes up out the chimney. At the top of the
Invaders.
out the top of Penn Island comes a bunch of white foam. It's just how the monsters do things.
That's yeah.
Yeah.
It'll take them a while to realize that their townspeople are missing before they think anything of it. But
This is step 5 of the master plan.
No one involved in this has any idea genital jokes. We're just like, well, it's this pen on that tower, so it's Penn Island. Perfect. Right.
Exactly.
it's a pen for our monsters.
Oops.
So anyway, we build one long hallway.
That's like coming out of the tower.
This is just under the tower. You go in the tower, and then you get your traps and your tricks and whatever, all in one line, and you can't bypass it.
If it's 5 feet wide, they
Perfect.
have to run through every trap, and there's no chance of them getting out. The problem is
Pretty
we
much.
also have to do that. So we need to, climb on the ceiling or something if we don't want to get hit by the traps. And I think that
There's a hidden
Our-
off switch.
our rat gnomes may not be. But if there's a hidden off switch, they can send their plucky invisible hobbit to go hit the off switch. There's
Well, that's assuming they know there's an off switch.
I'm sure they've got a plot armor wizard who can tell them that there is one somehow. We can't
If
be.
you weren't the size you were, we could just make the traps only go off on by
Yeah.
weight, but unfortunately you
I
cause a
am.
problem with that.
I am quite
His
a
legs
thick
off.
fish man. You could cut my legs off. I would be more fish-like at that point. I might not be as
Always
good of
been your dream.
a hunter.
So one thing to keep
Yeah.
in mind for the dungeon layout is your minions also live in the dungeon with you, and your imps do as well. And something that'll happen after every downtime phase is essentially the reaction of your minions to living in your dungeon. So if your dungeon is very, it feels like a dungeon to your imps. If your imps are really happy living in your dungeon, maybe it provides what they need, or they like the hierarchy of it, or they like how much loot is coming into the dungeon. Oh, there's a bunch of questions I ask myself each downtime phase from the minions' perspective to see if they revolt or not, basically.
We'll start a fake
So-
union.
Exactly. You may want to think about that when constructing
Yes.
your dungeon. Right? If it's really tricky for your minions to come in and out because they have to walk down one long hallway with a billion traps in it, it will probably work to keep the adventurers out, but you might have threats from the inside instead.
What if we give them lots of little hamster tunnels and wheels and things for them to run on?
That could be an option.
Little water
What if-
bottles.
What if the hamster wheels are our power source?
I thought it was a forge.
Yes,
That's a lot of wheels.
we have a lot of minions.
I'm for it.
Well, we are surrounded by water.
All the imps can just go in the
Taking
back
aside
door.
from the fire source, we can run things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no matter how many
Water
times you see imps die in workplace accidents, there always just seem to be more. You're not really sure where they come from. They just kind of appear.
We do provide jobs.
And booze.
Yes.
And booze.
Until the booze runs out.
Lose a lot.
Should I add booze to one of your hoard loots? Like,
I think that would be a good
it's
idea,
metal
yes.
And we always have booze on hand.
Yeah. So our sanctum is not our first room. Our sanctum is somewhere else.
Yes, the sanctum should be essentially the last room
Okay.
the adventurers get to. Your minions will like it best if the weakest elements of the dungeon are at the front and the strongest elements are at the back,
Okay.
because they like a hierarchy like that. Don't ask why, that's how minions like it. So, yeah, you want to put your sanctum
Yeah.
at the very back of the dungeon. And how this game actually handles it is your sanctum will be in a different area. We'll probably
Yeah.
put it like here or something, somewhere that's separated
Right.
because it's a separate floor. And then wherever we want to connect to the sanctum from somewhere else in the dungeon, we'll just draw a little staircase, like a spiral staircase going down that says this goes to the sanctum, or something like that.
Alright, so we get a hallway.
The hallway.
We don't fill it with everything, but at the end, we put our trick because there's two doors, and the trick tells them to go in the door that sucks, but everyone who works here goes in the door that doesn't suck.
That could work.
That's a good idea.
That is a very, very weak thing.
It
So
also
it's
lets
first.
us weed out the minions who are not clever.
Yep.
There you go.
Also, we only know like 5 words, so the
Yep.
sign telling them to go in the wrong door.
Yeah, it just says, we, yes,
Go.
go.
Gold. Go eat.
Gold, go eat.
So I assume the minions speak dark.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So is the hallway the first room that we're making then?
Well, we have to draw a dick somewhere. We should get it out of the way.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the long hallway and the
Well,
two.
that,
Yeah.
when you go through the mouth, I mean, it's probably going to enter a hallway.
That does make
Why aren't we
sense.
using the other side of the map that's squares?
I was
Because
wondering
I made the probably dumb executive decision to clean this side of the map. I assumed we were going to be doing like wilderness map and not
Oh, yeah.
like dungeon map.
Well, that's going to be a very odd shaped paint.
It's all right.
Who says you
There's
have
nothing
to
wrong with
follow the lines first?
That's true. We can just
Yeah.
draw.
Everything I've learned since I was 2.
He's never followed the lines yet drawing.
Definitely not.
My plan is also to, when we have our dungeon drawing initially
Yep.
here, I'll take a picture of it, make it a better digital map to throw up there occasionally, and then
Yep.
whenever we make updates,
Yeah.
I'll just slowly update.
And I can clean the other side of the map and transfer it over before next time we play.
So this is just a rough shorthand
Yeah.
of like we have a hallway here and a a TV section
Alright.
there and a.
One hallway, sir.
All right.
Want to draw us a hallway, please?
So if it's a long hallway, this is probably your first tier 1 room.
You big ass hallway,
Yeah.
and then we gotta have the 2 rooms.
I think that would be a separate feature, right?
Yeah, probably, but it's future
We can
That's
decide what goes in each one of
Good job.
those.
Yeah.
Probably, though.
There we go.
We
And
got a
then,
hallway.
You couldn't have done that better.
and then we make our trick saying, hey, go in here, but don't. That's the whole plan. And what we have as part of this plan so far
What's
is
the line down the middle?
Is
me not drawing it
No
wide
idea.
enough.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Maybe it's like the floor is a V shape, so that the adventurers like they have to kind of like squat walk along it. Like they can't really run because they're just gonna trip and fall because it's not a flat
So
floor.
the floor is just a deep V.
Yes.
At the bottom of the
Unless-
V is a line of molten magma.
Ooh, that might be like emergency trap.
Alright.
For later.
Cool when we find magma.
Yes.
They'll have to ride a bike down the middle of it.
Right now we just scribble on it with crayon that make it look like magma.
They won't be able to bring their horses in.
They probably can't already.
What if their horses can swim?
So we've got our tier 1 hallway.
Yes.
Left is a tier 2 room, the tier 3 room, without being completed.
Yep.
The stairway to your sanctum, a tier 1 creature lair, and then within those rooms you can start placing a lock, a trap, and a trick.
Okay.
So a lock serves the purpose of adventurers, when pathing through your dungeon, will always go down unlocked paths first. But then the locks won't hold forever. They'll probably come back
Yeah.
later and go through the locks as well after they roll to get through them and stuff. But yeah, so that's how that all works. But either way, who wants to go? Actually, you know what? It's easiest if we just go clockwise. So Taylor, what are you
Yes.
going to add next?
All right. So, should we be adding to this drawing the things that you just mentioned already before we go further?
Yeah, so what your tier 0 dungeon starts with is that
Oh,
list
gotcha.
of
We're
things.
just filling those in.
And then with further downtime, you can start adding other rooms and things like that.
Okay.
So what are our choices of things to add?
So if we want,
Yeah.
if we want to follow this plan,
Yep.
we probably need these two to be separate feature rooms,
Yes.
right? So we probably want to pick one of those to be a. You could either do a tier 2 room, a tier 3 room, or a creature lair for one of those for those 2 rooms.
Is the creature lair going to be a bunch of things that will attack them?
Yes.
Well, then that would be the one the door is pointing to.
That seems like a good idea to me.
Hey, go in here.
makes sense to me.
It's
Let's
just
have this be the
everybody.
creature layer.
Yeah, so the creature lair, we get to decide what kind of creature it attracts, which will attract automatically.
Okay.
We just have to keep in mind that right now it's a tier 1 creature, so it's
Oh,
not
gotcha.
extremely powerful.
We gotta go with kobolds because we already got 3
But those
kobolds.
are people, not monsters.
Those are people.
Are they?
Yeah, you guys are kobold. Well, I mean,
Yeah, but we came from
but
another dungeon.
Creatures and monsters, I'm getting the picture, are two different things. Like, this
Yeah, like
is like an animal.
You know, like a really high-ranking creature might be like a hydra or
Like
a dragon, or although we
spiders
don't know
with
those things,
parrot beaks,
but yeah.
so they can, they can pierce through armor and drink the tasty juices of the knights inside the armor.
Crabs.
The crabs are their own.
No, like regular crabs.
Just a room full of
Like we
Underground
just
crabs.
stole a couple.
Oh, these are lobsters. They're completely different than crabs. It's really racist to equate the two.
What if it's just like the mother of all your rats, just like a dire rat? Like a,
Oh, I like that.
It's a big old rat.
Yeah. Make this the rat queen.
She's like a queen termite. She's got a giant body and baby rats just keep coming out continuously.
Yeah, that's where all your imps come from.
I hate it.
Can I draw her?
Yes.
If you want to, yeah. So,
I don't have to. You really
Please
think
do.
you wanted to.
well, I mean, so what we could do.
Yes.
We could just
be
come back to
riding
Taylor
the
afterwards.
Yep.
That's fine too. So we'll have Stephanie do a rat queen drawing, which means we still have a tier 2 and tier 3 room to pick, which could go in the other slot here.
What are those?
So a tier 2 room could be something that has a little more function to it, like a guard post or a minion lair, perhaps even a prison or a torture chamber, something like that. And a tier 3 room is like the unique forge stuff that's on the dungeon sheet. Basically the special abilities of your dungeon are the tier 3 rooms.
We probably don't want to have that like directly connected to the main hallway that the heroes will be going down.
Well, it kind of depends on what the room is, because I think some
Yeah.
of them might be good for that.
Well, it's also the way we're gonna be going in there. So
I meant like in terms of our workshop.
Right.
Unless we were gonna have
So-
like a dragon mech suspended from the ceiling, and like we just dramatically drop it to the floor when the heroes enter, and then it beats them up and they run away.
can we just lock the other door?
So here's an interesting one that might make sense to be close
Yeah.
to the surface like this. One of the Forge's Tier 3 buildings is a vehicle bay.
Ooh.
Such as a submarine, dirigible, or steam car. So that could be an option that's up close to the front. There's also things like,
I like that.
mine shafts, factories, all sorts of crazy stuff. You are probably right that you would want to probably keep things like an alchemist lab or a factory or things like that closer to the back. But I don't know, I'm just looking over the list to see what
Yeah.
might be interesting.
Nice. Excellent. What if we do the vehicle bay there, and it's like a giant mechanical lobster
A vehicle bay where?
right there?
In the other room?
Yes.
Well, our ultimate vehicle plan is lava-powered dragon mechs. So
We-
what's a like second grader school play variation of that?
Dragon power armor. A cart that has a dragon head on the front of it.
You're just like a
Closer.
little, like a
A horse.
Like
no, like a little car that you gotta walk. To
Like a
power.
Flintstones
And it's-
car?
Yeah, and it's got like cardboard dragons pasted to the side.
So it is worth noting that when you
Yeah.
do make your first Tier 3 building here, your first
Yeah.
Tier 3 room, you don't actually have the materials to complete it. You just sort of start it and plan,
Gotcha.
dig out the room and stuff. But you need to go on some kind of raid to get the last like rare material to get it done. But so it won't be something you'll have immediately, but
Yeah.
you know it's something you can potentially
What
plan
are
out.
the purposes of these vehicles?
Death and
Raids.
devastation. Intimidation.
raids and looting.
It's
Yeah.
gonna have to be something that can float across the lake, unless you've
Or
got like
fly.
a barge that
We'll just put them in boats. We have one boat.
That also.
can they at least float so we can trail them along behind the boat.
We're not that good at this.
We might be later. What if it's a mechanical dragon and it flies?
One day.
One day. Yeah, that's what we can plan for. Since we're not gonna have the room at the moment. So we'll be working toward it.
One day.
So yeah, that's my vote. Mechanical dragon vehicle bay.
And in there we can put a stairs down to our bullshit.
Yeah.
That way we can come straight up into vehicles later.
When it flies, we can come flying up out of the top of the lighthouse.
Mm.
You also have one more room you could place somewhere as well.
Yes.
So this could also be a Tier 2 room. You could put something like a
Yep.
guard post lair or a minion lair. So the
It would make sense for the minion layer to be right next to the rat mother layer.
it would make sense. The minion layer keeps your minions happier, obviously. And
Would they be happier if they were further away from the mouth?
right now they're the weakest. So
Okay.
I will say so. There's imps and minions are two different things.
Oh, gotcha.
You currently have imps. None of you currently have minion packs. But those can be acquired in downtown fairly quickly. And those are fun to have. Minions are great.
Yes.
They have their own little stat blocks that you can assign on your character sheets. And giving them a place to live in your dungeon means your minions are happier, means they're more effective when they come with you on missions, things like that. So.
I think we should put a room behind the balls. That
Go on.
it's just a tavern, but it's our minion pack.
So that would be the minion room
Yes.
behind there. So what will we put in the other ball then?
We're
Since
Vehicle
putting
bay.
vehicles in there.
I thought we were in the middle of debating whether we're doing that or not.
No, we should definitely put a vehicle bay in there. And then right behind that, a place to get so hammered you can't properly use the vehicle.
Perfect.
So I'm gonna draw. That's our vehicle bay for the moment.
Excellent. So we've got a vehicle bay, we've got the
What
Rat
about
Queen.
that shape is vehicle bay?
I have no idea. It's like the head of a fish and some ribs. on
Don't
the
worry about
spine.
it.
I thought you were going for kite, but
Yeah,
That was my
that was
first
what I was
thought.
going. It's
okay.
Sort of kite-ish, yes.
It's two anchors attached to a kite.
Yes, so it
Which
doesn't
will
fly
work.
away.
Exactly. You're still working out exactly what vehicle goes in there, so the kite is a placeholder for your vehicle, you know?
And then
Tavern.
a minion tavern behind that.
Yes.
Kind of makes sense.
So if adventurers stumble in there, everyone.
Everybody looks at them and then pulls out their knife.
Yeah, the classic scene of revelry stopping and
Yeah.
everyone just staring.
Yes.
These
Dungeon
motherfuckers are
music
interrupting
stops.
drink time.
Well, it seems like if we got the adventurers drunk, it might make them easier to deal with. Like,
We're gonna feed the maggots though.
Where are we putting the stairway?
That's a good question.
Adjacent to the vehicles.
Just at the back of the vehicle.
Yes.
There.
behind the bar.
You could put the, behind the bar might work, or off the vehicle bay, just somewhere in that general area could work.
Under the bar.
Because clearly they're not going to the vehicle bay. We put an arrow saying to go the other way.
Obviously, yes. Like, the stairway is essentially a secret back room that isn't really secret to anybody who actually lives here. Like going off. Is that a way?
We should instruct the last minion in the tavern to, with their dying breath, blow the whole thing up with them inside it. That could be a trap.
Could be.
That might prevent us from getting to our dragon plane.
Prevents us from getting out from
We'll have
underneath
a
where-
secret escape tunnel. Will be fine.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have a secret escape tunnel.
I think that's one of the rooms you can build.
Ooh.
But yeah,
That
the,
stair in the tavern goes down to the sanctum. Is that the-
I
is that the-
think so. I think that's what my understanding was.
Okay. Well, that was what I thought we were doing, but I just wanted to make sure. I
Yeah,
was seeing
unless I'm misunderstanding.
Nah.
let's see.
So what do we want to lock?
Good question. So we've got
What
the
do we wish
staircase
to
down.
lock?
We need a lock and a trap.
Yes.
No, I don't think we want the minions coming down into the sanctum, especially if they're drunk.
Right. Our minions are mostly gonna be going out on raids with us. Is that correct?
So yeah, your minions can do a few things for you. You can pay them gold to come on raids with you, and then they, offer you strength in numbers
Yeah.
as well as perhaps being better at certain skills than you. They also, during your dungeon defense, are essentially defenders that can move around the dungeon
Yeah.
and say like, oh, I think they usually start in random spots in the dungeon because they don't know adventurers are coming unless you have something like a guard post or something. Then there will always be minions there, but once they're alerted to the presence of adventurers, they'll start moving towards them, trying to intercept them, try to fight with them a little bit. So they act as both dungeon defense, coming with you on raids. They can also
Yeah.
take downtime actions if you, again, pay them. So they're like having little extra minor characters in the group to do things. So.
Gotcha. Can all
Very
of our minions and imps bypass any locks and traps that we set up?
I believe so.
Okay.
I don't see why not, at least at this point.
And do we want to lock or trap the second door aside from the one that leads into the monster lair?
I imagine either that one or that one.
Yeah.
Let's not trap the front because that's too smart. We already put an arrow there and we're confident in this. Because we're monsters.
Yeah, so your tricks, locks, and traps only affect adventurers.
Okay. That's good to know.
Can we also have like little rat-sized tunnels that go everywhere though? So
I think
that
that's
they
one of
get
the things
from
we can
anywhere to anywhere?
build.
That's one of the buildings, yeah.
Little rat-sized tunnels is one of the
Yeah.
Oh,
They're
okay.
called crawlways. They are tunnels for only your imps, essentially.
Oh, nice.
We should probably put one of our two safeguarding options on the stairs that lead down.
It's already behind a bar.
We should just lock that
It's
one.
hidden.
Yeah, that's probably a good one to lock.
And then we should make it so the door into the vehicle bay from the back side explodes.
What?
It might
So-
damage our vehicle.
There's other
We
traps
have
we
a
can
vehicle, it's
Yeah.
fine.
There's other traps we can do besides explosions. What if we have a lava pit that they fall into?
We haven't discovered lava yet.
What if we have a pit full of really sharp ingots that they fall into?
We don't have ingots yet.
I don't know what we have.
Let me throw.
We don't have any means of making ingots.
We don't have a forge yet. We can make rat ingots. That's the only way that we
Yes,
can
that
make.
is true.
Let me throw a little bit of a
Yes.
wrench into this plan.
Oh, good.
Because at any time here, I get to interject
Yeah.
the one thing I pre-rolled, which was actually a good thing for you all. It is you stumble upon another monster dungeon sanctum that already existed here that has been long abandoned, full of loot. So in this case, I rolled for you discover the sanctum of a previous enclave that was here. So you find a deep underground well and like lots of like marbly architecture all
Interesting.
around. With like a big, not a well, a fountain, like a fountain with like marbly architecture and pillars everywhere. And it's got like a fake, the ceiling is like fake stars that sparkle and stuff. And it's very, very pretty.
I hope
I'm
our
just
imps
gonna-
appreciate it.
Exactly. So I'm just going to draw that over here as
They
just
appreciate it.
a large
Shut the fuck
box with the well in the middle.
We make that our sanctum.
Nice.
The fountain just sploosh.
Well, first we have to wreck it because this iconography is not great.
But what if we put lava in the fountain?
We will,
Yeah, exactly.
but first
And
we
then
have to wreck it
pillars everywhere.
Why would you break it?
because it's not ours.
So this is where the first staircase comes down.
Okay.
The one from the bar?
Exactly. And then there will be another staircase from
Okay.
this sanctum to your sanctum.
Cool.
So if you want to place things in that new building that's in your dungeon, you can. Because that goes from
Okay.
there to here. So I could even say,
Oh, this whole ass room needs to be trapped.
yeah. Let's see. From bar to sanctum. There you go.
Awesome. What if we make the adventurers think they have discovered the ancient sacred secret that we have sealed away, and we trick them into taking a wonderful long rest in this beautiful, pristine, peaceful place, and then we flood it with lava.
That could
We
work.
don't have lava.
No,
We
right
will
now we
later.
just flood it with water.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
we,
we'll flood it
so-
with water and
we
lobsters.
can put a big sign up that says
And
you
rats.
did it and
Yeah.
lull them into a false sense of security.
You
You're the chosen one.
gold.
We already did that.
So let's back up for a minute because I did
Yes.
forget something. So everything that has a function in the dungeon that has to be
Yes.
rolled at some point becomes one of your character's responsibilities. And you
Okay.
should have a dungeon duties section of your character sheet.
Dude,
Duties, yes, exactly.
you.
So currently
Stop.
the things that need to be assigned as duties are the Rat Queen, the trick outside here,
Yep.
whatever trap we end up placing, and whatever lock you end up placing.
I'll do the trap. I'm the tinkerer.
The tinker in charge of the trap makes sense.
I am the hunter, so I will take the rat queen.
Okay.
What are the others?
There is the trick that has been placed in the hallway here that we haven't actually defined yet. We've just said there's a trick there.
And the lock.
And the lock.
I have 0 dots in Tinker and 0 dots in.
Oh, that's okay. We'll be rolling the tier of the item anyways. So just
okay.
narratively, your character is the one to take care of that thing and, you know, assign minions to it. And when we get to dungeon play later, you play all of the pieces on the board that are your duties, essentially. So they all collaboratively make up the dungeon.
And is the creature a tier 1?
Creature is a tier 1, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
What tier is
Should
trap?
actually write that in here. Let's see, this is a tier 1. This is a tier 1. They're all tier 1s for now.
Okay.
Where
Was the vehicle bay a tier 2?
Vehicle bay is a tier 3, but we haven't.
Gotcha. It's not
Doesn't
been.
have a
did it, yeah.
function.
The minion bar at the back is a tier 2 room, but that doesn't do anything other than its purpose. So it doesn't get rolled. It doesn't
The
need
lock
duties.
gets rolled.
The lock gets rolled
And
when
where was the
adventurers
lock?
try to get through.
Was it here?
So we haven't placed one yet.
Okay.
So the advantage of a lock is that it can delay adventurers a little bit, as they might waste time having to
Yeah.
get through it. It can also discourage them from going down certain routes by making other routes look easier. So you might actually be able to get away without a trick here and just put a lock on this door. The adventurers would always try to go here first.
Yeah.
That's probably best.
That makes sense. So we could make that locked then, perhaps.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that makes sense.
This is a. Well, actually, just say this is a.
What if we put a
lock.
trick in the old enclave to make them think
This is the final destination.
that it's like a magic
The
fountain?
lock or the trick?
I think I had a lot.
And they spend all kinds of time trying to figure out how to make it work. But it's just fun. Doesn't do any magic. We just make a bunch of fake
There's a lot of
arcane
glitter.
runes. They'll waste time trying to
You
decipher.
put levers and buttons and things everywhere.
Yes.
Not in that room.
So, for all of these, we need to define a couple things.
Yes.
Right in here.
So for the lock,
Sure.
we need to choose the door
Or the
material
lock, rather.
and the lock mechanism, like how it is unlocked. And that is important because some adventurers might have like defeats locks made of metal, for example, as an ability on them. So
Gotcha.
we need to define things like that, go through on our traps, same kind of deal. So what do we think? Is this just a metal door and this is just a wooden door? Like, is that like, oh, let's go through the wooden door first, we can kick it down.
We're a room full of false puzzles. What that would be a trick?
We could do that. So a trick
Okay.
needs a trigger and a method. So the trigger is when it actually triggers, and the method is how it tricks the adventurers. So something like a method might be makes a loud sound to alert your minions, or it might be, like I mentioned earlier, a pool of water that the adventurers take off their armor
Yeah.
to get through, or something. So I mean, if you want to do something with a trick in this room,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm thinking maybe make this fountain look like if adventurers throw loot inside, it will give them a wish or something, but it doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. But,
I like that.
that way they'll just
Can we
throw a potion into the fountain.
Can we fill it with false arcane runes that make it look like the fountain will enchant their weapons, but it does the opposite?
Just rusts all their weapons.
I like that.
One of us is good at magic.
Yeah.
That could be your.
So you could hold the trick instead of the lock.
Yes.
So we'll say this is a tier 1 trick.
Yeah.
Tier
That's just
1
straight out of NetHack.
trick.
Fuck their weapons.
Alright. So as long as you remember what that does, that's good. It tries to make them think they can
Yeah.
enchant their weapons.
Well, they tried to get it to work and it'll distract them long enough for hordes of minions to come.
Yeah, or harm their equipment instead, or
Yeah.
something.
Yes. Or both.
Or both.
Write it down next to your dungeon duties. What it do?
Yeah,
Which
so
one? What line? I can't see none
Tier
of this.
1.
I'm sorry, my printer is
And then
insufficient.
the
No, it's
line
my
next to
eyes.
that is you're gonna write lock,
Okay.
and
This-
then you're gonna write your description to the right of that.
so
Or you're gonna write trick in your case.
So you're taking the lock then, George, it sounds
I
like?
suppose so.
Alright, cool. So what's the lock made of? Is it is it just a metal door with like a normal key lock, or is it something more intricate, like you have to twist the dial to the right angle?
No, I
or-
don't think we're that fancy.
That's fair.
One of their suggestions is just a heavy object.
Yes, true.
Yes, I'm thinking it's just the door's not hung well, so it's hard to open to begin with, and you just stick a rock
Alright.
behind it.
Excellent.
So what material is the door made of though? Because even if the door is locked, the adventurers might just try to break it down.
We are all about the metal.
Yes.
Okay, so a metal door that is hard to open.
Yes.
Okay,
Just
sounds good.
heavy. Just-
Well, no, it's not. It's not. We didn't hang it on the hinges well. It's not hinged well, so it kind of grinds on the ground.
Yeah, they don't know that you have to like lift it and push it. You just push it. It's
They
great.
need some WD-40 in their adventuring gear.
Yeah,
We
one
have
of
a
the
sign that
adventurers
says pull, but
gotta
you
come
actually have to push.
Oh, God, that's
Exactly. Perfect lock.
Yes, we'll put the pull handle on it.
Yeah,
We need
exactly.
to push more.
Yes.
Like they go to pull it. It's obviously locked because it doesn't open. And they leave.
That sends them straight to the rack.
Yeah.
You're a genius.
So we've already described the Rat Queen.
Yeah.
And did we want to place a trap somewhere? I don't think we have done the. We've done the trick, but not the trap.
I think the trap needs to be on our final door to our most inner sanctum.
So like right here.
That makes
Okay.
sense to me.
We should have one there at some point, so start now.
Yeah. So what's the trigger and the mechanism? So the mechanism is what it does, which might be something like falling rocks or a spray of hot steam, or I think there's a whole list of possibilities in the
Yeah.
book, but you can go off script as well.
Well, the simplest answer is when they try to activate the handle on the door, it just sprays them from both sides with molten metal.
True.
I mean, yeah, I want to spray them with molten ingots.
Spray them with molten.
Spray them with ingots
Molten metal
from the
spray.
sides and also drop solid ingots on them from above.
And what's the trigger? Like a pressure plate or a tripwire?
I
or-
legitimately want to do. They need to push or pull properly, but the design of the door clearly inspires them to do the opposite.
Okay. One of the options is like a false door.
Yeah, yeah.
So we've got a false door trap that sprays molten metal at them.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll write that down. And Kobe's taking the trap?
Yes.
All right. Tier 1 trap. Right here. X marks the spot. All right. I think we have our dungeon. Anyone want to take a shot at drawing our sanctum, though? Because we got to put that somewhere. Maybe right here or over there. I don't know. But we don't actually have to draw the sanctum on the map, but it could be a useful spot just to, detail it a little bit if you
Yeah.
want to add some pizzazz.
You haven't drawn anything that looks like a body part yet.
You don't think a triangle looks like a body part?
No.
Have you seen a nose before?
It's a good point.
You put a nose in our left ball. It's not supposed to be growing yet.
Wow.
What if our sanctum is ingot shaped?
Ooh. The
So like
ingot
a
sanctum.
rectangle.
It's trapezoidal.
Maybe it butts up against where the actual forge is. It's
Yeah.
like the area outside the forge.
Is this a top-down view or?
Yes.
I don't like it. I think it needs to be from the side an ingot, so that it's narrower in the ceiling and wider on the floor.
Yeah, I think so.
Because we're not going to be able to tell a top-down ingot.
We're only seeing one dimension. It's extremely wonky.
Yeah,
Also-
it'll be fine. It's just visual. We do need a staircase to it, though, if you want to put that.
Also, it would only be like an ingot in one direction. And I don't want to be the one that has to declare which cardinal direction our ingot is facing.
It's very nice, very nice.
Too big of a responsibility.
Can you explain what any of those
No,
things are? Okay.
there's
Oh, good.
It looks very forgy.
there's
though.
a big old slab hanging from chains on the ceiling. There's a forge in the back. There's
I asked if this was top
there's
down.
funky channels,
It's top down, except perspective.
molten
change.
metal channels. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You don't-
it's top down here, and then it becomes a side view.
Yes, I'm gonna call it isometric.
Excellent. It's a non-Euclidean space. That's just how it goes.
That'll confuse them.
This is canonically how our imps perceive reality.
Yeah, perhaps the forge is so dense that it warps reality
Yes.
around that spot, just within 10 meters or so.
You got all that.
I'm
I
sorry.
take back asking you to do that.
That'll teach you.
All right, we have our dungeon, but do we have a name for it?
Ingots Incorporated.
You gotta get off the ingots.
No,
Good.
Imp gets incorporated. Is that better?
Imp gets.
Get out of your house.
I already said it. Oh, I'm sorry for saying it again. That's absolutely hackish of me.
Was Penn Island the name of the island then, not the
Yes.
dungeon? Okay.
And it's what people read before they enter.
You
If
could
they can
be
read.
the something dungeon of Penn Island, though. That would work.
The balls of Penn Island.
The Penn Island ingots.
The ingots are
Sounds
stored
like a
in the
sports
balls.
team.
It doesn't sound nefarious at all. You blend right in. It's perfect.
Yes.
The molten scrote.
The kind Smiths.
The river crabs. The mountain crabs.
We don't have any fucking crap.
I think the molten scrote is the tavern.
Oh,
That is very likely, yeah.
I like that. I like that.
Especially by positioning into there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can delay naming the dungeon farther if we
Yeah.
have ideas over the week or something. But
I vote Kobe's house.
Cody's house. The Forge of Doom.
I mean, yeah. That is what we are.
No, it'll be our doom, alright.
Dragon these nuts.
Since the tavern is positioned just behind the balls, can it be called Balls Deep?
It's just Bofa D's of Penn Island.
No, I don't have an objection to the tavern being called Balls Deep.
It's like Helm's Deep. We
Balls
thought-
Deep is a hilarious dungeon name too, actually.
I'm going to go on record officially saying I didn't ever say that.
We
Pretty
dug
sure
too
there's
deep
a
into
recording.
You can't prove anything.
I'm still voting for Ingots Incorporated.
Sure.
Now we can't
You
just
can call it whatever you want.
That's 2 votes. You come up with something better.
Whatever your little carpy head comes up with.
My carpy head comes up with a lot of things.
Ingots, ingots, ingots.
Ingots, ingots, and beyond.
Yes, exactly.
Ingots, ingots, and ingots. People think it's a law firm.
penis. Penis.
What would your characters want to name the dungeon?
Kobe's house.
Okay, we gotta vote for Kobe's house.
What's ingots backwards?
Stogny?
Yes.
Stogny.
That sounds good.
Dongy.
Stogny.
Oh, hang on. I can't even spell.
I think Carpalamy would want to call it the better Carp Town.
Stognygrad.
Or just
Carptown 2.
the Carpathians.
I don't know if Stognygrad sounds
Stognygrad.
real.
Stognygrad's pretty good.
That is pretty good. I think I'm going to change my vote to that.
So it's Dragon Guts. Or no, Darken Guts.
Dark and He's Guts.
Guard. If you did Stogny Guard, it would be Dragon Guts. Dragon Guts.
Every time we try to say the name, it sounds dumber.
Stog.
Stognygrad it is.
Stognygrad's pretty good though.
I do
Yep.
kind of like that.
All right, let's go with that for now. You can change it
Okay.
later.
What if it's Stognygrad and then parentheses dicks? And it just.
Stognygrad is
Carpish.
Carpish for Carp Town.
Exactly.
Why?
There we go.
Stogny.
You're officially on the map.
Yay!
Stognygrad.
Dark Zero.
Dark Zero Stognygrad. We finally made it. So now we are done with the setup. Congratulations. Now is when we can enter the normal phase of play. It only took
Excellent.
us 6 hours or something.
New record.
I guess 5 hours. But anyways,
We're
Even
capable
better.
of spending 5 hours talking about opening a door, so.
That is
that's true.
And
We just spent that time talking about other people opening a door.
Also true, believe it or not. So, we're going to go straight into a lurking phase now. So everybody gets to take recovery first off, which means if you were shocked or bloodied or whatever, You're good to go.
Nice. Do I get all my stress back?
What are we doing
I
with
got
the
all your shirts
prisoners?
We'll get to that.
Good question. Maybe they're in your sanctum right now, just tied up, since you don't have a prison or a. They're part of your loot hoard at the moment.
I want
because you
to
don't have
make
another
them make more booze for our tavern.
place. That could be a good
'Cause
project.
that was moonshine. They know how to make that.
They'll be like manning the still on the shore.
They might be happier with a tavern that they can go to instead of just being like outside when they do their moonshining. This might be the best thing that ever happened.
Our human booze slaves.
Yes.
So, once everybody's recovered the stress,
Yeah.
bloodied condition, all that stuff, we go into your loot roll from
Do
the
I
last
remove this
raid.
this tick from my trick box?
You
you
forgot to
leave that.
bring the Trivial Pursuit pieces.
I need to
Exactly,
remember
exactly.
that'd be cool.
Alright, creating lurking. Here we go. So, loot rolls. You all would get. Normally, if you challenge an opponent of equal tier, you get 1 die for loot. You did do that. Those lumberjacks were tier 0. You also get a single die for finding a source of good loot, the booze. So you're at 2 dice now. You didn't take out any adventurers, you only took out lumberjacks. But
One of them was very adventurous
I was
That's
about
true.
to say like those exact words.
right, they don't count as
Yeah.
capital
because
A
of the gay orgy
adventurers.
that they were having.
That's true. But they don't have adventurer abilities where they take multiple hits to take down and things like that. You did find the sanctum full of loot. It's probably a lot of gold coins that were in the fountain that you took out.
Ain't now.
And that's going to give you, yeah, they're ingots now. That's going to give you 3 dice. So everybody gets to roll 5d6.
Nice.
And you actually get a result for
Yeah.
every die rolled,
Yeah,
not just the
okay.
highest.
Why?
You get us 1 to 3, 2 times. I'm gonna have to borrow your dice when you're done.
Why is that D6 retarded?
I've got a bunch of D6 over there.
No,
if
I
you
don't know
want.
where I got it.
Okay.
I got a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You
So
get
0
large
6s.
straight.
Yeah.
So you got 1, 2, 3, that's 3 failures. And a 4 and a 5, that's 2
Yeah.
mixed. So gain 2 gold for the 2 mixed results.
Excellent.
That doesn't look good for your stats.
I tried to do the same thing, but I got stuck in a loop.
I've
1,
got
2,
3 gold.
3, 3, 3.
3 gold.
You forgot how
So-
to count.
Yeah. I only have 3 fingers.
On a failure, you enjoy your revelry. So you did that 3 times. When you enjoy your revelry, you essentially just wasted a bunch of your loot on your revelry.
Yeah.
So you gain a dark heart. You would actually gain 3 dark hearts here, but if you go over your max,
Yeah.
you overdo it, which makes sense because you engaged in your revelry 3 times.
Yep, I definitely did since I already had a dark heart.
Yep, there you go. So, your revelry was gambling.
Yes.
So let's see, how does this blow back on you when you overindulge in your gambling?
Well, he just made some money.
Yeah, I've got to now flex on all of those fools back at Carp Town who thought I was never going to make it. So I'm going to treat everybody to a night on the town. And it's the party is going to expand several times from our original group as we go and do our night on the town. I'm going to end up treating a lot more people than I initially intended. All of whom
like it.
probably hate me and are happy to spend my money.
So you probably have drawn some attention from Carp Town as well.
Yeah, there's just massive amounts of poker, blackjack, and booze drinking going on.
Okay. So I'll mark that down. You drew attention from Carp Town from overdoing it. Who else got some good rolls here? What do we got? Gobi.
I rolled yet.
Oh, okay. Well,
She rolled.
Yeah, yeah.
Stephanie.
I have 1, 2, 3, 3, 3.
1, 2, 3, 3 out
Is that
of
all fails?
that's all fails. Yeah.
Perfect.
So you waste all of your money on your revelry, which is violence. So how,
No!
How do you spend money being violent?
well, you spend your loot being violent somehow. So maybe
There's
you,
a lot of booze.
That's
part of our loot.
for you to maybe you drink it all in your violent rampage. But
I go in a drunken rampage and
You
fist fight the rat queen.
you fist fight the rat queen. Okay, so let's say I'm gonna say you got all 5 failures here. I think that's
As
so
you do.
ridiculous. Yeah, I think you're gonna start this next raid bloodied. from
that's
fist fighting the rat
That's
queen.
not great. I'm gonna die.
Do
So-
you still keep the dark hearts at 2
So
when you go
get,
over?
you do, yeah. So you get your.
So do I fill in my other dark heart then?
Oh yeah, fill in your other dark heart. You mark off bloodied, and you mark off shock on all of your attributes.
Perfect.
Because to get rid of bloodied, you need to erase the shock. On
So I do have dark hearts more than the 2 slots
you
on
still
my-
are capped at 2,
Okay.
but you do at least get those 2.
Okay. Thank you.
Who else rolled?
I got 2 6s, a 4, a 3, and a 1.
2 6s, a 4, a 3, and a
you.
1. Okay, so 2 failures. So you're gonna get 2 dark hearts. Let's start with that. Does that bring you over 2? Did you already have 1 still?
Yeah.
Okay, so
How
you
do
do
you
overdo
use
it.
those?
You can
Yeah,
spend them on any roll to get an extra die.
Oh.
It's kind of
No,
like
I'm
inspiration.
gambling with him.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So you also go
You can't
gambling.
gamble by yourself.
So I'll say you drew extra attention from
Excellent.
Carptown. That makes sense. So you got that. There was 2 6s and a 5 or a 4, right?
4.
A 4. Okay, so you get 1 gold from the 4. And then the 2 6s are kind of special because for every 1 success, you can gain a quote unquote valuable item, which I'll have to double check in the rules exactly what that means. Or if you ever get 2 or more successes on a loot roll, you can combine those 2 successes into a powerful item.
Ooh.
So those are some options there. You could either get 2 valuable items of your choice, or 1 powerful item of my choice. Essentially here for your character medal.
Well, let's see.
So the powerful items. Let me double check the rules on these as well.
Cat is very bony.
Yes.
They didn't used to be.
No.
No, he was also obese before.
Yeah.
Extremely.
He has all the food he wants. I'll say that.
Does he?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know. He's always sniffing around here looking for food.
Yeah. I think he would eat more if it was all rotisserie chicken.
So a valuable item is something a little rare. You'd be a bit surprised to find. It might be a tier 1 item, such as a magic item, contraption, or a few doses of a potion. It can be a mundane item, like one of your already existing pieces of equipment, but with an edge, which I can describe as a sort of a situational upgrade for a piece of your equipment. A powerful item can be an item with multiple edges on it, so you could choose one of your pieces of equipment and get several upgrades on it. Although that would be my choice if you took the powerful item. Or it could be a tier 2 or 3 potion, or a tier 3 contraption. So on and so forth. So a powerful item, much more powerful, but I get to pick it. Or you can pick 2 single valuable items.
Give me the powerful item.
All right. So I think in all this loot, let's see, you are a conniver, yeah?
Yes.
I think in all this loot, you find a shadowy cloak that you very quickly claim for yourself that is a tier 3 magic item that can make you invisible when you pull it over yourself.
Cool.
That must have been in the sanctum we found. 'Cause I don't
Yes.
think a bunch of piss-drunk rednecks would have.
Maybe it was like hanging over the fountain. We didn't realize the fountain was there until somebody walked into it. And got
Exactly.
tangled in the cloak.
So Mel just got in there quickly, got the cloak of invisibility, threw it on really quickly, and then nobody ever found out that.
Incredible.
we had it. Okay, and then
Can I
Kobe.
use a dark heart for looting?
No.
Motherfucker.
Come on, Ferdinand.
That would be funny though.
All the 6s.
3 1s, a 4, and a 5.
Okay, so you get 2 golds, and you definitely overdo it, but you do max out your dark hearts. And your revelry is gorging on meat. So how does that come
Also
back
trying to
and bite
fist
you?
fight the raccoon for a different reason.
That's one of our prisoners.
Yeah, were you so hungry you went out to one of the nearby factions and like stole meat or something, got their attention, or
You ate a mountain crab.
I was gonna say,
did you eat a mountain
No,
crab?
he's going for the crab.
Do you steal food from the company, or The
I
Goblin
broke into the Goblin Kingdom.
Kingdom. Ooh, okay. Broke into the Goblin Kingdom to join one of their feasts, perhaps?
I was caught just in their food stores eating everything that was meat and leaving everything that isn't meat in a disgusting pile that I labeled garbage.
Excellent.
You took the time to label it garbage. They were somewhat impressed.
Well, I was angry that it wasn't meat.
Very understandable.
And then they chased me off.
The goblins speak our language, right?
Yes.
The dark.
There we go. All right, so taking notes on all of your unfortunate encounters with other factions so far. Good. I think that's all of the loot rolls down. So now we enter downtime. Now these are when you all get to make a lot more decisions. Downtime can be a whole lot of things. You could do something like trying to build another room or contributing to building another room here in the dungeon. It could be brewing a potion or building a magic item. It could be trying to hire a minion pack to join you. Things like that.
So we don't currently have minions, correct?
Correct. But so you can either at any time during downtime, you can spend 1 gold coin to automatically hire a minion pack, I believe. Or you can take your downtime action to try and get a minion pack for free, I believe is one of the things. Yes, so it's a tier 1 project to get a minion pack.
Am I capped at 3 gold?
Yes.
Okay.
Clearly, you should go wrangle some crabs. You are a hunter.
I do want to pay gold to get minions.
Okay, so that is a minion layer we built there,
Yes.
right? Okay. So,
Maybe I could hire some other carp people from Carp Town while we're gambling. Maybe that's part of the gambling is they gotta work for me for a while.
makes sense. Okay, so you got just a bunch of cart people as your minions?
Yeah.
Okay, so would you want to try to do that for free or just spend a gold to do it?
I'd like to spend a gold.
Okay, so you can just do that.
Okay.
Mark off one of your gold pieces, and you get a minion pack, which I need to
Bass
double check.
Brothers.
So,
They are
Excellent.
carp people, but they're the Bass Brothers.
excellent. Because I need to double check exactly how minions work. Minions, here we go. So, you're recruiting minions. Yeah, 1 gold. So, first we have to determine, how many are in the pack, what race they are, which I guess carp people, and then what is their primary job? Is their type we should write down there? So are they like thieving carp people? Are they building
good
carp
question.
people? Are they?
I think they should be fighting carp people.
Okay, so a group of bruisers or something.
Yeah, I'll put down Bruiser.
Excellent.
Oh, my sneeze betrayed me.
Classic. So you could spend gold to upgrade them, as listed on the sheet there.
Yes. Do they start at just 1?
They start with no upgrades, but you can spend gold to
They're
upgrade them.
the number of them.
Oh, you can select a number between 2 and 5.
Okay, only 3.
Yeah, if the pack has more minions in it, we assume each minion is weaker.
Yeah.
And the opposite. You will want to mark off 2 dots in 1 action and 1 dot in 2 actions for them. To give them some action ratings.
Hire a minion pack that's 1 minion. It's just some dude named Gus who just...
Exactly. You can do that, and if you do summoning magic, it counts as a minion pack, and you usually just summon 1 creature that counts as a whole pack.
Don't name your fish minion Gus.
I didn't.
Name him Gil.
They're all named
They're
Gus.
the Bass Brothers. They need no other names.
They're all named Gus, but there's 1 Gil. He's the outcast.
My mind was wandering. Did you say 2 in 1 and?
Yeah, 2 and 1 and 1 and 2.
Okay, thank you.
Man, fuck English.
They've got 1 in banter.
Excellent.
They've got 1 in Tinker, they've got 2 in Smash.
Excellent. Yeah, circle a dark impulse for them, and you can continue to spend gold on upgrades if you want to. They all do different things here, which I can read for you if you're interested in any of them.
Cart people are known to be superstitious. These ones are no exception.
Did we have a rules reference sheet somewhere? Is that- if anyone's
Yes, I've got a
curious.
basics sheet right here.
So one of them has a.
I've got a rating sheet here.
It's probably the last page. Is the lurking.
Lurking Calamity. Yeah.
There we go. So if anyone wants to look at what's possible during downtime, there's some information on there. If we want to pass it around, because there's a section on what kind of downtime projects you might want to take. But if you have any other
Yeah.
ideas, we can educate it as necessary.
What is the strapped upgrade?
The strapped upgrade, your minions have 1 supply slot, which can be used to access anything from your supply.
Gotcha. If I make them versatile, what does that mean?
Versatile, they choose another 2-dot action and 2 more single-dot actions.
Interesting. Gonna make them versatile for 1 gold.
Excellent. Give them some more dots.
They've got 2 in Invoke.
The magic bruisers.
Extra superstitious cart people.
What do all of them do?
All of the upgrades. I could just run
Yeah.
through. Adept, your minions can cast a single tier 2 spell per cycle. Equipped, your minions gain a single defense. Expendable, your minions don't need to be re-recruited with gold after they're destroyed. However, if you make your minions expendable, they cannot have any other upgrades.
If they're fluent, does that mean they speak the other
They
language?
speak the light tongue, yes. But with a strong dark tongue accent. Mindset is your minions have a mental edge, which might be considered as a circumstance towards position and effects, including fearless, loyal, or zealous. You can also make up your own.
It does seem like it would be useful to have minions who can speak the light tongue. So they can make signs at the very least.
One of the character abilities lets you speak the light tongue as well. So any of you
Gotcha.
could take that
Yeah.
using your flexibility slot. I think the conniver gets it as one of their NE slots though.
Yeah, I get something called tongues if I choose it.
That makes sense. And then trained, the only one I haven't described, your minions take +1 die on a specific type of downtime project you choose.
They're
So you can-
versatile under that.
Yeah, versatile gives them more skill dots. Another 2 and 2 more 1s.
That's a lot to take in.
Yep, we can go back to it as needed though.
Alright.
I think it's probably on one of the sheets, if I had to guess, but...
They do downtime activities.
Yeah, so during downtime you can pay a gold to your minions to get them to take a downtime action for you. So you'd use their ratings,
handy.
but you get more actions during a downtime phase. So you get your own downtime action, you can pay a gold to have them take an additional one. The imps also get a downtime action, but I get to choose what they do.
Did you explain the companion upgrade? If you didn't.
The companion upgrade is unique in that it only comes from certain calling abilities. Like on your character sheet, you might get an upgrade that gives
Yeah,
you a
my hunting
companion.
pet lets
But what
me
does
have
it
the.
do?
It's...
Does that make them like permanent if they like they can't actually die?
The companion ability is only available to minion packs gained through calling abilities. They will always join on a raid without asking for gold. You normally have to
wow.
pay minions to come on raids with you. It also protects them from being permanently killed.
Okay. So if I have this thing that says you have a magically bonded spirit or pack instead of a minion,
Yes.
it has a companion upgrade and powers choose to become invisible, manifest physically, etc.
Yeah.
Do I have to spend the gold to get that like you would a minion, or do I just
No.
have it?
So if you take that character upgrade, you
I
will
did.
just get it.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Nice.
So I
Pretty
can
sweet.
spend a gold on an upgrade.
Yes,
In
you could
addition
spend
to the
gold
companion
on
upgrade.
for other upgrades. That's true. You can also take downtime projects to improve your gear. I don't think I've described edges yet, but that's part of this whole thing. Edges are a way you can upgrade your gear, or probably something Kobe will be adding. Kobe will be doing a lot of edging.
Don't say that.
So
Say
much,
that at least once a week. Please.
so much edging.
Actually, don't say that. No.
The laws of monster science. Here we go. So edges are sort of situational things for your. Here they are, for your gear. So you
Do
might.
they get?
One of these is 2 dots. 2 of these are 1 dot.
You might get. You might make one of your gear pieces camouflaged, or you might make one of them light or terrifying. They're sort of keywords you add to your gear that you can then later ask me when we're out on a mission. Like, hey, GM, does the fact that my armor is light help me climb this wall? I'm like, sure, yes it does. Whatever. That kind of stuff. Some of them have more specific things, like pulverizing lets you destroy stone and armor more easily, things like that. But we kind of are expected to make up our own specific, situational bonuses for things. So it's not just like, my weapon does more damage, but it's like, my weapon does more damage 2x or something. But those are edges.
What do I put under number?
I don't know actually.
Just right.
1 to 5. The more you have, the weaker they individually are. I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna spend my last gold. I'm gonna make my cart people fluent.
Excellent.
They come from Cartown, so it makes sense.
That does make sense. Excuse me, that does make sense.
Mine are fluent.
I'm gonna make them make all of the signs for us in the dungeon.
Why don't you speak light?
That's a very good question. I don't have an answer yet.
Raised by kobolds.
Yeah, I mean that would make sense.
We kidnapped him at a young age.
Oh, yes.
How do I craft?
I want
so-
him in a game of chance.
You taught me well.
So to craft something, you can either brew a concoction, which would be a potion would be a magic roll. Brewing a concoction would be a crafting roll, a tinker roll, and that's just like alchemy and stuff instead of like it's a healing potion. You could build a room. You could craft an item or add an edge to an existing item. All of this becomes a project clock on your sheet, like you already have one. Did you take that upgrade or a different one?
I took the prototype, but I have no idea how it works.
Okay, so for the prototype, this is a good question. So you'll start with a tier 3 contraption, right? I think that's what we decided. Mm-hmm. So for a tier 3 contraption, let me bring back up those rules. It's something extremely powerful, but extremely dangerous to use as well. So like your idea of a gun is perfect because it's probably nobody's going to be able to predict the gun, so it's going to be very effective. But it also probably has a chance of shooting you instead because
Absolutely.
it's a gun, right? So yeah, a contraption. Here we go. All right. Yes. So contraptions are always volatile, which means they have some downside to them because monster science is not perfect. And the volatility, I think in this case, would probably be that your gun is loud. So you're trying to use the gun when you're trying to be quiet, it's not going to work so well for you. So you can mark off I believe a tier 3 project would be an 8-segment clock. eight segment clock.
It's a lot of segments.
It is. I think that's right. Let me double check the. Cycle of play, downtime. Downtime projects. Here we go. Okay, so tier 3 is an 8 segment clock, and that's your gun. So whenever you use your gun, due to your ability, sometimes you make progress on it just passively, but you can also roll Tinker to continue to make progress on it during downtime, which is much safer. And yeah, just based on the result of your Tinker roll, you add a certain number of ticks to the clock. When the clock is done, you finish the gun permanently, and you get a new prototype for free to continue working on, I believe, is how that.
Does that put it in my supply or whatever?
So the gun is probably too large to go in your supply, right? Supply is stuff you could conceal. I kind of picture the gun. Is it like a catapult?
It's way too big.
Yeah, okay. So that probably takes up one of your gear slots instead. So pick whatever thing you think you'd replace with the gun, and put it there.
Since I have it now already.
Yes, since you have a prototype.
And I have 2 clocks.
Yeah, so you could start a second clock of something else if you want and let the gun cook.
And what is to lose its dominant position?
So normally downtime actions are always taken from the dominant position, and the position goes from dominant, meaning very little risk to yourself, to default, to dire, where there's some risk to yourself, all the way down to deadly, if there is risk of grievous harm to your character from roll. So if you start with a dire position on a roll, if something says it loses its dominant position, it probably drops down to default, which means if you try that roll at that point and you fail it, not only do you fail the roll and don't make any progress, but you also probably take damage or damage your minion pack or cause a cave-in or something, right? Some sort of downside.
I can't use money to craft without minions.
I believe that's right. I think there's only a few things. Let's see. Gold can be used for just a couple things instead of downtime. Gold can be spent on minions, primarily. Yeah, I think that's the main thing. It can be spent on minions. You can, if you have more contacts out in the world, you can start trading gold to other factions to get them to do things for you. But for now,
I'm gonna buy a bunch of kobolds.
buy a kobold pack.
Yes.
All right.
Nice.
And they're all going to also be tinkerers.
All
Excellent.
right. Perfect. So you got
You just
you
buy
got
your
a,
family.
a kobold pack. Exactly. Go out and buy your family.
That's how I knew. And now 5 of them are gonna suck.
Excellent. Are they going to be expendable?
No, because then they can't be good tinkerers.
True.
Maybe that's how they're the best tinkers. You see that little gear in there that's stuck? I need you to go in there and get that unstuck.
All right. Yeah. So give him
You see
a dark
stuff,
impulse
sir?
and all that.
His own blood.
So on and so forth.
Oh gosh.
I've got to buy a
Even
pair
in
of
death, I
kobolds
haven't
to
been
use
good.
as scouts or spies.
Excellent. Sounds good.
That's one gold.
Ferdinand, I can advance your clocks a total of 2 ticks every downtime.
Ooh. That's pretty sweet.
I need to start another clock, but I don't think I can until next downtime.
So hiring minions doesn't take a downtime action. It just costs gold.
Oh, well then my other downtime has to be inventing because I invent.
That makes sense.
Let's look at my list of ideas. I got emergency teeth,
I like that.
Incredible.
flubber butt,
I also like that.
the batting bat,
Excellent.
a cup that turns water into a random liquid,
Excellent.
the Herodric meat cube,
I think the water cup one might be more of a magic item.
and gassy gas, which is a gas grenade that gives you gas.
Did you just take a bunch of mushrooms and right?
No, I'm a kobold.
I really hope
I
we
like
see
the-
the Heredric meat cubes. I'm
I
ready
like
for
the
the campaign.
batty bat makes a good companion to the gun.
It does. My gear pieces are the gun and the batting bat. The bat.
Well,
bat.
whatever. I think the batting bat was specifically a baseball bat for batting bats specifically.
So you toss a bat up in the air and
Yes.
And
And the
you have
bat
them
is
to fly
alive
really
and very
fast.
confused.
Oh no!
why?
Excellent. You just have a cage of bats on your back.
I think I would replace the hornets.
It's the batting bat cage.
It's the batting bat.
The batting cage, yeah, exactly. The batting cage.
Shut up.
So Taylor, now we can put bees in a jug.
Yes.
He's not going to carry the bees anymore.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I have to finish that project first because it's not my
Prototype.
prototype. So I think I'll do the batting bat,
So the batting bat.
which is literally just a bat for batting bats.
Yes. I
Not very high tier.
don't think it's very high tier. No.
Just launching a bat at somebody very inefficiently.
Yeah.
We'll need to have a room that's a creature room that has a bunch of bats in it, and you'll just get like a massive bonus for defending the dungeon while being in that room.
Can you be batting live bats, not bat bats?
They are live bats.
Oh, okay.
This is the whole
They're
point,
not.
is to bat live bats.
Yes.
Oh.
Maybe this is
I thought they were
a species of bats
more
that just
bats.
has incredibly thick skulls, and that absolutely no harm comes to them by batting them. It just makes them fly really fast.
I mean,
They're trained to curl into a ball.
Yes, they're like Sonic the Hedgehog, but bats.
Yes.
So I think the batting bat is tier 2. So that's a 4-segment clock.
Also, I don't think Sonic the Hedgehog was ever hit by a kobold with a bat, but I can't be sure.
There's been a lot of games.
There has.
now let's see.
So go ahead and roll whatever. I guess it would make sense to be Tinker for that, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So it can be either Finesse, Scan, or Tinker.
I got 3 1s.
3 1s. That is unfortunate.
Yeah, I'll take a look at that.
So
Am I just getting mauled by bats?
I think so. So you can risk it, like you mentioned earlier, to lose the dominant position, get a second chance at it, but there will be consequences, or you can just take the loss on this one and get no ticks.
Can I use a dark heart?
Yeah, you can use Dark Heart.
6.
Ah, there we go.
Hey!
So on a 6, I believe you get 2 ticks.
Usually, ticks are a bad thing.
What?
His bats are covered in them.
One of the upgrades for the minion pack was good for making things, and I don't remember which one.
Yes.
Was it Adept?
It was one of the very last
I thought it
ones.
was versatile.
Versatile gives some more skill points.
Or no, maybe it was trained.
It might have been trained. That was under Dungeon
till you see the
Denizens.
Bat
Minions. Here we go. Yeah, trained lets them do downtime better. You get to pick one type of specific action. So it can be brew, build, concoct, craft,
Grab.
incant. Okay, there you go. So they can craft things, but they can't brew things. That's the distinction there.
You know how Moses makes his coffee?
Shut
He
up.
brews it.
I've heard that.
That's a good one. All right, so metal gives +2 on a downtime, right?
You choose
Yeah, I
to
can
get
give him
jokes.
2
Thank you.
ticks on the clock there. Or 1 tick on one clock, 1 tick on another clock.
That's pretty sick.
And I can spend another to make them craft.
Oh,
True. You could really start cranking.
Do you want to do the craft clock? Because like,
However you want to I will come in, look at your project and try and
Just
find
approve of it
efficiencies for you.
immediately.
You know, or a little better way of doing things, and whatever you want help with, I'll be willing to help out.
You could also upgrade either your own or one of your teammates' equipment as well with crafting instead of making contraptions.
I think I'll do that with the rest of my actions because I want to use the rest of my stuff before I want to use the bat.
That makes sense. So,
it's 2 bears.
So I want to spend a gold to make my kobold tinkerers make something better.
okay. So making something better would be a tier 2 project, but I think you're out of clocks.
Oh.
So you might have to finish the bat first, then get a new clock. Or
Oh.
something.
Well, I can eat his crafting things to finish the bat,
Yes,
and then start a new clock to make
Yes.
something better.
that tracks.
We'll trade. I'll make one of your things better.
Sounds good.
Okay.
What kind of gear do you have, Metal?
Not much. Well, let's see. The invisibility cloak is obviously not going to be able to do much with.
Yeah, already enchanted.
I got a dagger, a sack, my pet mouse, a pair of manacles, and a mirror. At this point,
So what would a kobold do to enhance one of those?
I don't know. That's his end of things.
Just give it to him.
I
Or
want-
something.
To put a bungee cord on his dagger so you can throw it at people and whip it back.
It's like a returning dagger.
Sort of, but with a bungee cord, so it's
Bungee
very
dagger.
difficult to use and might hit him.
So
No
so an
idea.
edge is always like a single adjective. So like a bungee dagger could make sense.
Yes, bungee dagger.
Okay.
So okay, so you're working on. So you've got the bat, and now you're working on the bungee dagger.
Is the bat small enough for supply?
That's up to you. Do you think? I mean, with the cage of bats and stuff, it doesn't sound like it.
Maybe I can move my hornet jar slingshot into supply. It's a slingshot and a jar.
That could work. That
Hornets
doesn't
are very
sound too
small.
crazy.
The hornet jar doesn't have to be big.
And then your kobolds will do some tinkering.
That's true. So that's them rolling on. How many project clock is bungee dagger?
A 4-segment clock.
He's doing a lot of things.
6 and 4.
All right, so they get 2 segments on the bungee dagger. Woo! Halfway there.
So meanwhile, you just don't have a dagger because he's working on it.
That's okay.
I'm working on the bungee. It's fine.
Yeah. The bungee will just snap on. There, it's fine. Makes
I
sense.
can hide under my cloak.
Yes. Can you upgrade this dagger for me? Immediately hides.
It'll be a modular dagger. You can put you can work on a different accessory next time.
Yeah. So who else has downtime actions to take? Because I think that's it for Kobe.
Probably. I made a lot.
I
Yeah.
don't know how to tell if I do or not.
So I don't think you've done anything yet. So I think you still have a downtime action.
Since your minions were from character creation,
Yes, I made minion, and I spent a gold
Oh,
giving
okay.
them an upgrade.
So that was the character upgrade you took was
Yes.
to get a minion pack. Okay, so you spent your gold. So yeah, you've not spent any actions yet. You could try to brew a concoction or a potion or something. You could start building a new room in your dungeon.
Can I do anything to remove my bloody condition?
You should. That's fair. So you got that after the lurking phase. Yeah, you could spend your downtime action like relaxing and healing.
If that's possible. I'd like
I
to
think
do
that makes
very much.
sense.
What if
Yeah.
she has to incant a healing ritual?
There you go.
Because we already chilled. That's how we got hit the first time.
I like that.
And she's magic, so
Yeah.
I'll go lounge in the fountain.
Lounge in the fountain. Do a bit of a shamanistic healing
I
ritual.
make it a healing fountain temporarily.
Yeah. So give me a
And they can come sit in it too if they want.
this will be a tier 1 ritual, not very hard. So this will be a single roll to complete. Just see if you succeed on a
Do we have to lug the rat queen in there after your
invoke.
fight?
Invoke is the thing.
they
No,
were
she's
on.
fine.
Okay.
How many do I roll?
Whatever your invoke rating is.
Oh Christ. That's 3 dots.
All right. So roll 3d6 and the highest result.
4.
4. Okay. So you do heal the bloodied condition.
I can get an extra die by using a thingy, right?
You
Dark
can.
heart.
Normally, you have to do that before you roll. But
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll allow it if you want to spend it. That's fine. I think that's okay.
Another 4.
Okay, so you spent Dark Heart.
Perfect.
I think you do get rid of the bloodied condition,
Nice.
and you do lose your shock to muscle and guts, but you don't lose your shock to brains. Is the consequence there? So you spent a lot of mental energy running this, getting this nice warm fountain bath going with like all the special salts
Even
and
though
smells
invoked is
and
guts.
so yeah, even though that's guts. So your brains are still just a little tired from all that.
That's alright, I don't use them much anyway.
Yeah, so you'll have to use a brains action in order to get rid of the brain shock later, but that's
Yes.
fine.
Perfect. Thank you.
Cool. So now you're no longer bloodied. That's good.
I don't think Carp did anything.
I
You
hired
hired
minions.
minions.
Does that count as my action?
If you spent gold, it does not.
Okay. Then I would like to use my action to work on the hangar.
Ooh, okay. Well, the hangar is complete, but
Okay.
it needs a material, which we'll need to identify as a mission for you to go on.
Gotcha.
But
I
it is
have no
pretty
idea
good
how it
otherwise. You could start working on a different thing, though. I don't think you can start a new tier 3 building until you get a new tier of your dungeon, but
Where was the dungeon page?
But he's also just,
They probably had some of
he's
these.
also just
I put-
starting.
Things we should
Yeah,
look
they
for.
probably had some here.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Got it.
Constantly getting a thing for discovery, and then
I'd like to build a crawlway. Or start building a crawlway.
excellent.
I think attached to. I think it would make sense for it to be attached to the
those
creature room
Things
since
that we
our
can go through, or just the imps can go through?
Just the imps can go through.
since the
crawler.
imps are the rat babies.
10 minions, or just imps?
Minions.
creature that is small and
Creature
can
that
move.
is small.
Definitely not my cart people.
Yeah. So I think narratively small things could. So
Do we have to build each crawlway like individually?
yeah.
What did you take this?
Did we make it so that the adventurers walk in and slaughter all of our imps before they get to any kind of danger?
Probably.
Your minions.
That's
Well,
okay.
no,
those
you
come-
Ghosts.
you lock those
You got
doors. They
three
go into the
ghosts.
rat room
Okay,
first.
well,
Yeah. And we've
Very
just
good.
established the rat queen has hands.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the crawlway definitely would make sense to have minions go through it if they can, but
Yeah, so is the crawlway just like generically connected to
I think we could do it a couple different ways here. If you want to connect those two rooms for now, I'd probably just like draw a little U between them.
Okay.
It's like a little tunnel, and that's a crawlway. I think that looks pretty good.
I'm sorry, do imps fight on our behalf as well, or just build?
Just minions.
they're gonna cheer on
Your
the
imps, are
rat
too,
queen though.
your imps are cowardly and clever. They will not fight.
Well, the imps are born there, so they've got to.
Yeah, they take the crawlway straight to the pub.
It's the circle of life.
That sounds like us.
So the
Your friend of that
crawlway
is the rat race.
exactly. The crawlway is a
what the
tier
crawlway's
1 project.
Okay.
So, right? Yes. Tier is the tier of the building. So you could either finesse, scan, or tinker to build the crawlway.
What good is a crawlway? Because can't they already go everywhere?
Well, right now you could have minions enter that room or escape from that room that the adventurers could not follow or might not predict.
There's no way to get from the rat queen to the tavern otherwise without going all over.
It also probably makes your minions happier. So
Yeah.
that's a benefit.
They go straight from birth to the bar.
Exactly.
Yep. Alright, I would like to use scan since I've got my 2 dots in
Alright,
that.
so you're looking-
I'm looking for a good seam in the wall that we can
Oh,
expand.
excellent.
Those are pretty dice. I like those.
They are, they glow in the dark too. That's a 5 and a 6.
Ooh, okay. Well, the 6, that's a complete success. There were no
Yeah.
complications. You found the perfect seam. The imps got right to work very happily because it leads them back to their mother.
There's now rats in the walls.
And there's now rats in the walls, which is another benefit. Excellent. So that's done. You got a new room in the
Sweet.
building, in the dungeon already.
T1, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter too much for those
Okay.
rooms because,
Since we don't have to maintain them actively.
well, that and also there's no such thing as a tier 2 crawlway or
Gotcha.
tier 3 crawlway. A crawlway is just by definition a tier 1 building. So
Mm-hmm.
it could matter though. So that's fair. But Metal, did you take an action?
No, I want to start working on a better lock for
Okay.
that door.
So yeah, you could pick the tier. Just higher tier ones are going to take longer, basically.
I think right now, just to keep things simple, it'd be hinge the door properly and put like a bar,
Okay.
across.
Like on the inside.
Yeah.
Okay. So
How are we going to open that from the other side?
Stick a little hook through.
Secret knocks.
Ooh.
I like that.
Password is one of the options for the lock.
Yeah,
Or-
that tracks.
Tell one of the imps to go
I like the
through
idea
the
of
crawlway.
the adventurers getting down this hallway, seeing a door with one of those like little slide eye holes that's for the password. They just said "fuck this" and ran to the other side.
Worry about that later.
Yeah.
He doesn't
Okay.
just write no.
So if you want to upgrade it to a tier 2 lock, That's going to be a 4-segment clock on your
Okay.
downtime actions. And then you get to pick a action for this, because I think it's the same thing, tinker, scan, or finesse to start
Did
building.
advancing my thing by 2 uses downtime, or is it special because it's an ability?
That depends on how the ability is worded.
It says each downtime you get 2 ticks, which can be distributed to any project clock started by your allies.
Pretty sick?
That's really good.
Yeah, it's very strong.
So
But
I
not
think
by
we'll just
yourself.
take no. Everything that I have is to help allies. I don't
The-
have anything that buffs me.
The mastermind at work.
My 6-sider. So I'm going to use scan.
All right.
Every one of your sets is
6, a 5, and a 1.
All right, so the
Nice.
6 makes that a complete success. You get 2 ticks. You're halfway there.
This is pretty unrealistic that the adventurers walk away from a locked door when we all know
Yeah, I know.
the second there's a locked door, that is 3 hours of trying to open it, even though there's 6 other open doors.
Well,
Yes.
clearly, because there was a password they were asked for, they'll find the password elsewhere.
Yeah,
in the dungeon.
exactly.
So they obviously
find the
need to
key
go
somewhere.
Uh-huh.
No one ever thinks of that. They're always just like, yeah, fuck your design. Alright, I want to go through here now?
Yes.
Fire the hinge-seeking missiles.
This is a DM with some trauma.
Every DM
I
has
apologize for
trauma.
that, Ferdinand.
One
It
time,
comes with the territory.
one time 88 made a dungeon where it was the classic, there's a locked door, you go around, use it to leave. No one could get by that locked door. He had to keep inventing reasons why we couldn't take it apart.
Incredible. I just let you take it apart because I was disappointed in myself.
All right, so the imp's downtime action, I was gonna have them make a crawlway actually, but one of their
Sounds cool.
magnanimous leaders already helped them make that, so they don't even need to.
You're never gonna play in the dark though.
Doesn't matter.
Start
think-
blind writing on
We
your
don't
sheet.
have dice because we need them. We have dice because dice.
I think the minions are gonna attempt to torture one of your prisoners as their downtime action, because they're
As they
clever
should.
and they're gonna try to get information out of these lumberjacks. So you're tier 0 right now, so they're gonna roll 2 dice and take the lower in order to torture these poor lumberjacks.
Poor
And
lumberjack.
they got a full failure. And so they just torture one of the lumberjacks to death and get no information out of it.
Which one?
The one you buried up to his shoulders in sand, unfortunately.
Poor guy.
So that one's dead, but you still have 2 prisoners remaining. But your imps are really trying. They're really trying.
Morale is high.
Exactly. Morale is very high.
They came to us all excited. We killed one. Oh, thanks. Alright.
Good job, guys.
So, going through the list of all the stuff here. Calamity phase. Now that we're done with the downtime phase.
Yeah.
So I decide how happy your minions are, which I'll do very quickly here.
They seem pretty happy.
They're pretty happy with the new Ratway. The dungeon layout they think is pretty good. The dungeon's been growing a lot lately because it's very new and well founded. So I'm gonna roll 3 dice for them. Let's see, they got a full 6. So the minions
How'd you do that?
are okay. All of your minions, thanks to how happy all your minions are, they all gain morale, which is a tick box on the minion sheet, which is essentially a minion dark heart. If
Do
you
my
have a
minions
minion.
work the same way, or are they different in any way?
Different in any way to what?
Well, because I acquired them in a different way. Did they?
Oh, same. Yeah, you're good. So you get morale.
Cool.
All right.
And then your
And they
minions
they have a max of 1 morale then.
Yes.
Okay.
Like, you can only be so happy.
And actually, now that you all have minions, it'll be harder for you to overdo your revelry in the future because your minions can soak up that dark
Oh,
heart
that's
as well.
really good.
Yeah, so you definitely want to spend those dark hearts down.
That's good to know.
And also, any of your minions you want to join you on the next raid will do so for free because we're all so happy at the moment.
Sweet.
So that went really well for you.
Yeah, I'm not bringing mine. They
I
make
am.
shit. They stay there.
Exactly.
The Vast brothers will work off their debt.
So we did that.
In the Bass Pro Shop.
Yes.
That's where they sleep.
That could be the name of our dungeon.
No.
That's the next room that we had.
Yes.
With a big fish tank.
Before you found them in Carp Town.
This is a small family business. You're
All
professionals.
Shut the fuck. I will throw this cat at you.
I think that is where we'll end the mechanical stuff for tonight.
Okay.
We have a few minutes left. We should go over XP.
Woo!
So, everybody look at your XP questions on your sheets, and we'll figure that stuff out.
Alright. Wicked XP.
Well, we
Reckless
definitely
XP.
progressed on our master plan because we got a dungeon.
Yes,
Okay,
that absolutely tracks.
Cool. So we mark 1 for that?
Mark one for that.
Yeah.
Nobody really did any dungeon scenes this time, so nobody gets that,
Right.
unfortunately. But we were kind of pressed for time. That's just how it is.
We were learning.
We were learning, yeah. So at any time, whenever you say, like, I'm gonna go work on this trap, you can make a scene out of it, and then somebody else could jump into it, and you can get all good XP for it. Do you all feel like you acted like a monster?
I think Steph did. I don't know that anybody else did.
I feel like Kobe played into the crafter really well. I mean, it's downtime. That makes sense. This also counts for last session as well, when you were doing your raid.
Gotcha.
Just trying to remember.
I did chase somebody with a bear trap.
That's absolutely monstrous behavior. Kobe caught someone in a net as well.
I chased someone on the
Acid,
I
right?
hit and threw acid on somebody.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think that's pretty monsterish. And what did you do?
I chased someone down and blew him up.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, you all get an XP for that.
To a fine miss.
Yeah, that's very true. Absolutely murdered somebody.
We did collectively bury a man up to his shoulders.
Yes. Did anyone feel like they used their gear or supply in creative ways?
I chased a man with a bear trap.
Yes, you get an XP for that.
George threw a knife at Moonshine.
I mean,
That was creative, yes. So you
I
get an XP for
did
that.
use my equipment to blow him up, but I feel like that would be double dipping.
I also
Yeah.
think that's probably what it was for.
I think it's less about just using your equipment and using it in creative ways.
Yes. So no, I don't think I can claim that one.
I feel like not, unfortunately. Alright, so Reckless XP. I don't think anyone really got bloodied or feral except Carpolomew.
I did get bloodied.
in order to save the loot, which gave you all an extra die in your loot rolls.
Getting bloodied, I don't think is enough. I think you gotta play into it, and you just kind of kept chasing dudes.
That's kind of true. Yeah,
That's
so
fair.
you got bloodied, and if you had acted more bloodied,
Yeah,
that could have gotten you some
that
XP,
makes
but-
sense.
Pretty good though. So everybody got a little bit of XP.
Yeah.
Not bad for our learning sessions where we only had like a half hour of raid and then like an hour of downtime. So hopefully we'll get more in the future as you start,
Yeah.
going through stuff with more time every session. And who knows? Maybe next session we'll get through a whole raid and a whole downtime together and just start
Yeah.
rolling that cycle.
We need to figure out what we need to steal to finish the vehicle room.
Yes, so we'll figure that out next time. Maybe ideas over the week, and that'll be the source of your next raid, probably. Unless you have a different
Yeah.
idea for raid, but
I feel like the dragon commune might be our target.
that makes sense. That's
They-
a pretty high level target, but you could.
It is. I bet they have a dragon statue that's probably we could. It would be very fitting for us to steal it, melt it down, and use it as fancy
true.
double doors.
It would be very risky,
Yeah.
but the reward would also be a lot higher because they have a lot better loot.
Yeah.
than
I think we should go for it because we're new and stupid.
that makes sense.
That makes sense to me.
That'd be a very greedy monster plan to do.
We beat 4 dudes on a beach, and now we can handle anything.
Yeah.
I think we can
Absolutely.
use their woods to fuel our furnaces instead of relying on fending.
I think we could have built furnace.
Yeah.
We need a forge room.
Well, thank you all
Did I
for
show you
playing.
this?
Thank you for running.
Thank you,
Taylor?
sir.
What's up?
Did I show you this? I don't remember.
Yes, it's beautiful.